Ladies and gentlemen, students, dreamers, believers, let me start with this. You are not a mistake. You are not a coincidence. You are a miracle, wrapped in potential, designed with purpose. And if no one has ever told you that before, hear me now, you matter. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle no matter where you come from or what you've been through. You are here for a reason. Your life has meaning. Recognizing that is the first step to transformation. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle. That's not just motivational fluff. It's psychological truth. Think about it. Out of billions of possibilities, you made it here. You beat every odd just to be born. And then again, every time you survived something that could have broken you. That alone should tell you something about your value. But here's the problem. Most people are trained to doubt themselves before they're ever taught to believe in themselves. We inherit insecurity before we even understand what self-worth means. And so we grow up questioning whether we matter, whether we belong, whether we're enough. But let me tell you, your existence isn't an accident. Philosophers have debated this for centuries, but the one truth they keep circling back to is this: consciousness has purpose. The fact that you're able to think, to wonder, to question, that's evidence that you're meant to contribute something to this world. You may not know exactly what that is yet, and that's okay. Discovery is part of the design, but never let this world convince you that you're just here. No. You're here on purpose for purpose. Now the real question is, what will you do with that truth? The power of choice is the greatest gift you have. Every moment you are making a decision, and those decisions shape your future. You have more power than you think. The most underrated power you have is the power to choose. You don't need to be rich to have it. You don't need a degree to access it. It's not reserved for the privileged. It's built into every human being. Choice is what separates you from instinct. Animals react, humans choose. And every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're designing your future by the choices you make in private, in silence, when no one's watching. That's where your life is actually being built. Now here's the deeper truth. Choice is responsibility. That's why so many people avoid it. It's easier to blame your past, your parents, your environment. But the moment you accept that your life is a direct reflection of your decisions, not your conditions, is the moment you take your power back. Philosophers call it radical ownership. Psychologists call it internal locus of control. I call it growing up. Because maturity starts the moment you stop waiting for someone to rescue you. So if you're not where you want to be, ask yourself, what choices got you here? And more importantly, what choices are you willing to make to get out? Pain is a signal, not a sentence. Challenges and setbacks are life's way of teaching you something vital. Pain does not come to punish you, it comes to awaken you. Pain is one of the most misunderstood parts of the human experience. Most people think pain means something is wrong with them. They think it's a sign of weakness or failure, like it's punishment for not getting life right. But that's not what pain is. Pain is a messenger. It's life's way of demanding your attention. Psychologists call it feedback. Philosophers call it the teacher of growth. I call it the signal that something inside you is either breaking through or breaking down. You ever notice how pain shows up right before a major shift? That's not by accident. That's because pain doesn't show up to hurt you. It shows up to grow you. It exposes what you've been ignoring. It reveals the truth about your limits, your fears, your mindset. And if you sit with it long enough, listen to it, learn from it, it will elevate you. but most people numb it. Run from it, deny it, and that's how they stay stuck. Pain isn't a sentence, it's an invitation to evolve. The question is, are you going to listen, or are you going to keep running in circles? Education is the passport to freedom. Knowledge is your tool to break cycles, build dreams, and create the life you deserve. Whether formal or self-taught, education empowers. Education is not just about school. It's about elevation. It's how you move from survival to significance. Now let's be clear. I'm not just talking about degrees and diplomas. That's one form, sure. But true education is what happens when you commit to understanding yourself, your environment, and your purpose. It's mental expansion. It's sharpening your perspective. It's learning how to think, not just what to think. See, knowledge is the one thing that no one can take from you. You can lose money, lose people, lose opportunities. But once your mind is fed, it stays fed. That's why I say education is freedom, because it breaks the cycle of ignorance that keeps people repeating the same mistakes. It gives you tools. It gives you options. It teaches you how to ask better questions, and better questions lead to better outcomes. You don't need a fancy institution to get educated. You need hunger. You need curiosity. You need humility, the ability to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. Because in life, you don't rise to your intentions. You rise to your level of preparation. And education is the preparation for everything worth having. Success is not what you have, but what you give. You don't need to wait to be rich or powerful to make a difference. Contribution and service are the real wealth. People think success is about what you accumulate, cars, money, status. But the older you get, the more you realize real success is about what you contribute. It's not about how high you climb, but how many people you help climb with you. That's the shift from ego to purpose. And until you make that shift, no amount of money will fill that empty space inside you. Now here's the psychological truth. Fulfillment comes from meaning, and meaning comes from service. We're wired for it. That's why the richest people still give back. Because deep down, every soul wants to know it mattered, that it left the world a little better than it found it. Contribution is the currency of legacy. You don't need a big platform to make a big impact. Sometimes holding the door for someone, showing up for your family, sharing what you know, that's wealth. That's purpose. Don't wait until you make it. To give where you are. Give what you can. Because in the end, people won't remember what you had. They'll remember what you gave. And if you can grasp that now, you're already more successful than most. Legacy is built by consistency, not perfection. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up again and again for your purpose, your vision, and your community. Everybody wants to leave a legacy, but most people think it takes perfection to do that. It doesn't. It takes consistency. Perfection is an illusion, something we chase to avoid criticism, but consistency, that's real. That's where the growth happens. The people who build meaningful lives, who change families, who inspire nations, they're not perfect. They're committed. They show up when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's clapping. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Psychologically, this is about identity. You become who you consistently act like, not who you occasionally pretend to be. Small, repeated actions shape your habits, your character, your outcomes. Philosophers call it virtue through repetition. The brain calls it neuroplasticity. Either way, it's the same truth. What you do daily determines who you become permanently. So if you want to build a legacy, start with your routine. Start with your habits. Stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be intentional, because the world doesn't need perfect people. It needs people who keep showing up with purpose. Legacy isn't written in a moment of glory. It's carved little by little in the moments no one sees.